Ever since we uploaded that first GRANBULL challenge here on the channel, I always thought it deserved a second chance, so today it reaches the end of the line. I've got to be honest with you all, in a world where Ursaring exists, I've always struggled to see why they made GRANBULL quite so similar. In Generation 2, they're both slow, hard-hitting normal types. The only real difference is GRANBULL has slightly lower stats, but is in the fast experience group, and that's something we'll be talking about throughout the course of the challenge. For now though, before we get into the stats, I do just want to very quickly ask, if you enjoy the videos, please do make sure to leave a like on this particular one. But now let's take a look at the stats of our GRANBULL. As always, we're starting at level 5, and this time we have 25 HP. We've got a berry with tackle, scary face and tail whip, and we have 18 in attack, 13 in defense, 12 in the specials and 11 in speed. Now this run is going to be very similar to the Ursaring challenge that we saw just a couple of videos ago. But I'm very curious to see how much the fast experience group will affect GRANBULL's time, and will that mean, because we're going to be going in at a higher level to a lot of these key battles, will the slightly lower base stats come into play with a slightly worse learn set at the beginning of the challenge? That's what I'm definitely interested in this one, and if you're interested in that as well, let me know and I can try and find some more kind of obscure pairings to run fairly close together in this series and also in the other series we're doing. For now though, I'm going to have a little chat with Mr. Pokémon and we'll meet back up for Rival 1. To try and make this as fair as possible, I've decided to give the rival Totodile once more, so we'll see how this goes throughout the course of the challenge. We missed Tackle, which isn't a great start. Of course, Tackle does have that chance to miss in Generation 2. So unlike Teddiursa where we had Scratch, that is something we're going to have to factor in until we get ourselves Headbutt. Tackle is still a perfectly cromulent move, especially when you've got 120 in attack, but it does have that 5% chance to miss, and you know what it's like in Generation 2. If you can miss at a key point, you absolutely will. Now we're going to head to Violet City, where we're probably going to take on Sprout Tower early to get our Flash HM. We've got a bunch of wild encounters on the way up to Violet City, so we're running slightly slower than Ursaring at the moment. However, that's part of the challenge run experience. Sometimes you get a bunch of wild encounters, other times you get a little bit luckier. We have just learned Bite, which would be useful if we had some great special attack, but we don't have the best special attack in the world, so we're just going to continue using Tackle. That will give us something at least for Rival 2 though. Probably something better than Mudslap would be for the Teddiursa line as well. So let's now get ourselves out of here. I'll beat up the 2 trainers in the gym and then we'll take on Falkner. And with that, we are ready for Falkner, our first gym leader. He is of course a flying type specialist and he's going to lead with Pidgey. We one-shot the Pidgey, out comes the Pidgeotto. Do we get 2 tackles hitting in a row? Yes we do, and that means we get our first badge, the Zephyr badge, in 6 minutes and 56 seconds. Let's now start heading towards Azalea Town. And now that we're in Azalea, there's only one thing we need to do, and that's pause the timer to catch the HM friends. First up, as always, is going to be Paris. Paris will be helping us out with Cut, Flash, Dig, and Rock Smash. And then we're also going to be picking up Psyduck here. Psyduck will be helping with Surf, Strength, Waterfall and Whirlpool. And you can see it took us a little while to get that Psyduck this time, which is exactly why we paused the timer. But with those 2 safely in the party for another challenge, I'll beat up the Rockets and we'll meet back up for the gym. And with all the gym trainers beaten up, it is now time for Bugsy. Bugsy is our second gym leader, a bug-type specialist who's going to lead with Metapod. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Metapod to get us started as String Shot fails. Probably going to be a 2-shot as well on the Kakuna. Harden's absolutely irrelevant, and now we can turn our attention over to Scyther. It's going to be 3 shots as Fury Cutter deals a little bit of damage. We grow to level 21. We obtain the Hive badge in 12 minutes and 12 seconds. So we've made up a little bit of time there compared to how slow our Falkner split was. We're going to use one of our potions now, get almost back up to full health, and we'll take on rival number 2. This time he's going to lead with Garcy, and we've got Bite, so it's going to be a 1-shot. Let's move on to the Zubats. We'll use Tackle against the Zubats. It's another 1-shot, and that just leaves the Croconaw left to go. Gonna fish for a flinch, which we get on turn 1. Low roll on turn 3, frustratingly, but we do manage to knock it out, taking very little damage whatsoever. Let's now move on through the forest. And of course, the first thing we get in the forest is the Cut HM. That's going to be incredibly useful. It's going to let us get through this tree. So we'll teach Cut and Flash to Paris. We'll use a repel and then we'll get ourselves through the tree. And we're going to talk to the green-haired man staring at the tree just on the other side of the forest, because it's finally time to get rid of Tackle. That truly terrible starting move is gone once and for all, and we're going to have a very, very decent headbutt move in its place instead. So it's goodbye to Tackle, hello to headbutt in its place. We'll plonk on another repel, grab the pair of ethers, and then we'll pause the timer so that we can catch ourselves Abra. So now that we're on the outside of the forest, we'll pick up Abra. Abra's going to be a first ball catch as well, courtesy of the challenge run patch. With that, we can unpause the timer at 13:50 and make our way into Goldenrod proper. And of course, the first thing we do when we get into Goldenrod is we pick up the bike, get ourselves double quick movement speed, we'll register that straight away, and then we can pick up Kenya and probably get the Quick Claw from the National Park as well. I think we're definitely going to be needing the Quick Claw in this particular challenge. We have very, very low speed compared to our attack stat, so next time we menu we'll be gluing that Quick Claw onto our Granbull. Probably going to be staying that way for the majority of the challenge. I don't think we'll be getting any tutor moves in this one. We'll pick up Dig from the National Park, and now we'll have a little chat with Floria and get ourselves ready for Whitney. Just before we take on Whitney, we're going to get ourselves an Ice Punch and a Fire Punch TM. And we'll be teaching the Fire Punch TM right about now. I think Fire Punch could come in handy, especially if we decide to do the Goldenrod Underground before we take on Whitney. There's no sense in keeping Scary Face on the learn set. Those kind of moves which debuff the enemy I generally find aren't worth using in a challenge run. But now I'll beat up some extra trainers and then we will take on Whitney. And with that, we're ready for our third gym leader. This is of course Whitney. She's a normal type specialist and she's going to lead with Clefairy. We use Headbutt and knock it out in one shot. Miltank comes out to play. We get a Quick Claw proc, but that's kinda meaningless. We two-shot the Miltank, we grow to level 25, and we obtain our next badge, the Plain Badge, in 17 minutes and 18 seconds. And that now means we can move on to Ecruteak City. And of course, here at Ecruteak, the first thing we need to do is beat up all of the Kimono girls so that we can get ourselves Surf. I was thought for some reason that Granbull learnt Surf, but it doesn't. Not that we'd be using it either way, but with some of the Pokemon that can learn Surf, I'm a little bit confused as to why Granbull can't do a Doggy Paddle. I think it would be very, very thematic. Let me know what you think. Am I in the wrong here? Or am I onto something with thinking that Granbull should learn Surf? These Kimono girls are not going to be a threat. It's going to be one-shots for most of them. Maybe a two-shot here and there for some of the bulkier ones. And then we can maybe grab the Mintberry, I think, on this occasion, because we are going to be definitely slower than the Gengar. And then we can think about taking on the rival for a third time. Fortunately, it isn't that much of a time loss to cycle back to Ecruteak after grabbing the Minceberry and the Nugget, and it does mean that we'll save some movement later. I did want to take on a couple of extra trainers anyway, so Birdkeeper Toby is perfect for this. It will mean we're up to level 29, hopefully, for the lion's share of the rival battle that's still to come. Two-shot there was a little bit frustrating. We low-rolled at the very last opportunity. But with that, we can make our way into the Burnt Tower, where we're going to take on the rival for a third time. So let's stick on that repel. And while we're at it, we'll teach Dig and Rock Smash to our Paras. We'll reorder the moves now in a slightly more sensible place than when we normally do it. So we will move or we will reorder our moves, I should say, into Flash, Dig, Cut, and Rock Smash. Always keeping them in that same order every single challenge. It makes menuing so much more consistent. I think I mentioned it recently, but there's no right or wrong order for your moves, but there is definitely a right or wrong way to have your moves. If you're not keeping them consistent, then you're going to struggle to menu. We get through the first two Pokemon of this battle incredibly easily. We're already on to the Croconaw. We'll use Headbutt. We don't quite one-shot it, but it's all over for the rival for another try. We'll fall through the floor. We'll release the beast. And next time we meet up, we'll be in front of Morty. And with that, we are ready for Morty. Morty is going to be our fourth gym leader. He is, of course, a Ghost and Poison type spectacular gym leader, and he's going to lead with Ghastly. We'll use Bite against the Ghastly, knock it out in one. We outspeed the Haunter and knock that out in one as well, and here comes Gengar. Hypnosis missed on turn 1 and 2, so we get to save the Minceberry after all of that faff. We'll finish off the last Haunter as well, and we get our next badge in 22 minutes and 59 seconds. Let's start heading towards Olivine City. Here at Olivine City, the first thing we'll do is pick up strength. I'm umming and ahhing about teaching it. I don't think we've ever used charm at all in this challenge run, so we could get rid of charm in place of strength, and then we'd have two fairly decent stab attacking moves. But it does mean we'll have to go to the move deleter fairly sharpish, so I might hold off for now. Return's going to get close to strength fairly soon, so it could be a little bit redundant on the learn set, and of course strength is a HM, which means we would have to go to the move deleter. I think we'll hold off on strength for now. If we do need it, if we get in a pinch, we can always teach it. If not, we'll wait until after we've defeated Chuck, and we'll go to Goldenrod to grab return instead. And here at the tippy top of the lighthouse, all we need to do is have a little chat with Jasmine. She wants us to get her medication, in inverted commas, for her. We will oblige. She's got us under duress. She won't let us get her gym badge until we've done that, so we'll sail across the open seas and we'll take on Chuck while we're at it in Cianwood. So let's grab the secret potion and make our way into our 5th gym. This gym could be tricky. We are at the type disadvantage, so we'll have to see exactly what goes on. And the answer to what went on in this particular gym with its set of trainers was we one-shot everything and outsped everything. So it was a very, very easy time to get up to Chuck. Now this is Chuck, he's our 5th gym leader, he's a fighting type specialist, he led with Primate that's already gone down, so has his Poliwrath. I couldn't even finish his intro by the time we defeated him. 2651 for the Storm badge. Let's get out of here, I'm sure he's very, very annoyed with us. Now that we've got Fly, we can do a little bit of housekeeping and we can think about taking on Jazz next. So as always, the first bit of housekeeping we'll do is we'll pick up this rare candy east of Newbark Town. It's a little bit out of the way, so it's one very much worth picking up while you can still fly back to Johto. We'll get the one in Violet City as well, take advantage of having those rappel steps. We're going to pick up the charcoal just in case we need it for Jasmine. So that's going to be a lot of money if we don't need it. And even if we do need it, we can sell it on later as well. We're going to get the nugget and the rare candy south of Goldenrod in this particular set of rappel steps as well. Try and combine everything all into one, and then we'll reascend the lighthouse, chat with Jazz, and we can think about getting our 6th badge. So we'll return the medication to Jazz. I'm sure she's going to give it to the Amphi. Nothing sus going on there at all. Definitely just didn't get a flashlight out of her handbag to try and blind us, so we didn't see what was going on. We'll go in hot pursuit against her and we'll take her on in her gym. This is Jasmine, our 6th gym leader together. She's a fire type specialist who leads with Magnemite. It's a one-shot on both of her Magnemite to get us started, so we can turn our attention over to Steelix. Steelix is a critical hit one-shot. We've been taking secret potion today. We're going to get out of there. She's probably annoyed with us as well. So let's make our way towards the Lake of Rage. Now we're going to need to get full items at the Lake of Rage this time, unfortunately, which is going to be a little bit of a time loss. However, I think because we did that on Ursaring as well, it's not going to be as bad as we could anticipate it to be. We'll grab the elixir. That's really useful for the rocket, not the mahogany section, the goldenrod rocket section. We're going to get detect as well, just to sell for some extra money. We'll get ourselves Hidden Power Rock, and then we'll fly to the Lake of Rage proper, and we'll take on the Gyarados. Not anticipating too many issues at all here against this Gyarados. I think with 4 headbutts, we should be more than capable of knocking it out. It was a 2-shot, so let's now have a little chat with Lance. Just before we take on the Rockets, I am going to get TM27 now, and we're going to teach Return in place of Charm. We've not used Charm at all. And I think even though we're going out of sequence now, having the extra power points is going to make the mahogany section a little bit quicker. So now we'll reconvene when it's time to take on Price. Well, that Rocket Underground section was a giant waste of everyone's time and effort. So we are now in our 7th gym. This is going to be Price's Ice-type gym. Unfortunately, we did get Border Douglas here, which is going to slow us down ever so slightly, especially when Cloyster protects twice in a row and Supersonics us. We just have to hope that we're able to get through this last shelter fairly easily. We've hit ourselves in confusion. We're confused no more, though. Thanks a bunch, Border Douglas. I knew I didn't like you. Let's now take on Price. We'll get our revenge against the gym leader here. He's going to lead with a Seal, so we're going to headbutt the Seal and knock it out in one. Up second is Dugong. We'll swap to Return and we take it down in one simple shot. The final Pokemon's Piloswine. We almost but not quite knocked it out in one. We get the high roll second try though, and we get our next badge, our 7th badge, the Glacier badge, in 35 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's keep it chilly now as we go through the ice path. Now, in case you're wondering why I do the ice path before taking on the rockets, it's so that we can get some extra items. We get an elixir on Route 44, which comes in very, very handy for the rockets in Goldenrod, because it means you can save a Pokemon Center heal. I'm also able to pick up my max repels for the Kanto section here, and by flying out of the ice path, I then have enough repel steps left to get down here to pick up an extra nugget, which lets me afford even more vitamins in Goldenrod. Talking Goldenrod, that's where we're going to go now. I'm going to do my vitamin shop, take care of the first part of the rockets, and we'll meet back up for Rival 4. And with that, it is now time for Rival 4. I've taught Shadow Ball in place of Bites. They both have pretty much the same matchups in Generation 2, and Shadow Ball's physical as opposed to Bite being special. So I think it might just be the trick for getting through the ghosts a little bit more consistently. We'll use it against this Haunter, we take it down in one shot. We'll swap to return for the Sneasel, and his last Pokemon is going to be for Alligator. We outspeed, we one shot, so the rival once again proving himself to be nothing but a bit of a wimp. Let's move on to Claire. And with that, we are now ready for Claire. She is our final Jotonian gym leader. She's a Dragon-type specialist who's going to lead with Dragonair. It looks like we outspeed the Dragonair, and it's more than comfortably a one-shot, so we don't need to worry about getting Thunder Waved, and we can turn our attention over to the Kingdra. We're going to use Return, we outspeed, and we one-shots. We grow to level 51, we decline the option to learn Takedown, and now we've got to go in hot pursuit to the Dragon's Den so that we can get our last Jotonian badge. After answering 11212, we get ourselves our final badge in a time of 47 minutes and 16 seconds. We're on a very good pace so far. Let's try and keep it up as we head towards the Pokemon League. We don't learn Earthquake this time, so that means it's straight into battle with the final rival. Let's see how we get on this time. He's going to lead with Sneasel. We'll one-shot that with Return, and we are on to Golbat. It's another outspeed one-shot on the Golbat, so that brings us nicely on to the Magneton. We'll use Fire Punch against the Magneton, guarantee the KO, and then we'll use Shadow Ball against the Haunter. That just leaves his Kadabra and his Feraligatr left to go. We'll use Shadow Ball against the Kadabra, and then we'll finish off Feraligatr with a Return, and we are through the final rival in 49 minutes and 53 seconds. Let's now say thank you to the HM friends. So it's a very big thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and of course Merci to Paris. We'll pick up our full restores. We'll either need them or we won't, and then we'll take a little look at our stats going through to the league. We're level 53 with 184 HP, holding the Quick Claw with Return, Shadow Ball, Fire Punch and Headbutt. 170 in attack, 114 in defense, 104 in the specials and 90 in speed. Those of course are the out of battle stats. We'll get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now, against Will. He's our first league member, a Psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. Xatu's already gone down, Jinx is going to go down in exactly the same way. We grow to level 54 and we one-shot the Executor as well. He's going to send out his Slowbro next. Shadow Ball's probably got the highest chance of one-shotting, and that just leaves the last Xatu left to go. We'll one-shot that and we are through Will in a time of 50-52. Let's move on to Koga. Koga is of course our second league member. He's a poison type specialist and he's going to lead with Ariados. We'll use Return against the Ariados, knock it out in one shot, and the next up is Venomoth. Venomoth's going to be another one shot as we grow to level 55. We'll use Fire Punch against the Fortress. That's the entire reason it's been kept on the learn set for so long. We'll swap back to Return for the Muck, knock it out in one nice hit, and we'll use a Return against the Crobat as well, knock it out in one, and that's first try Koga, and we can move on to Bruno. Now for Bruno, we're going to be teaching Ice Punch in place of Fire Punch. Ice Punch is going to be handy for his Onix. It's going to guarantee the one shot, so let's see how we get on. This is Koga, our third league member, Bruno rather, our third league member, and he leads with Hitmontop. Hitmontop goes down in one shot, so does Hitmonlee, and I think it's going to be the same for Hitmonchan as well. We do of course take some guaranteed damage off the Hitmonchan as we grow to level 56. Machamp comes out to play and we take it out in one nice big hit. We'll swap to Ice Punch for the Onyx, we knock it out in 1, and we get through first try in 52 minutes and 5 seconds. It's Karen time. She's the one I always dread out of the Elite Four. She's going to lead with Umbreon. We'll use Return against the Umbreon and we knock it out in 1. That brings us on to Vileplume. We knock that out in 1 as well. Gengar, give us your worst. You swear at us, we'll Shadow Ball you back. We grow to level 57 and here comes the Murkrow. Murkrow's going to be no issue. The last Pokemon is of course going to be Houndoom. We outspeed it, so we knock it out in 1. First try Karen in 52.46. Let's very quickly use one of our elixirs and we can take on Lance. Lance is of course the liar with the flyers. He's our final trainer of the Elite Four and Champion section, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. I'm getting very overexcited for this, I've got to say. I was not expecting the league to be quite this easy. We get through the first level 47 Dragonite and we do the same against the second, and here comes Aerodactyl. It's not going to be a one-shot on the Aerodactyl and we don't outspeed, but he's using Hyper Beam, that's absolutely fine. We'll swap to Return for the Charizard, we do outspeed this. It's just the final Dragonite left to go. We'll use Ice Punch, we knock it out in 1 hit, we grow to 59 and we get through Lance in a time of 53.35. A very nice palindromic time there to finish off the Elite Four. So let's now get our final Hall of Fame time for our Granbull. And our final Hall of Fame time for this challenge is 53 minutes and 51 seconds. And that puts us in second place so far on the leaderboard, just under a minute behind Ursaring. Don't forget though, this is only the midway point of the challenge. There's still another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere because Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to grab a rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. With that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, I am more than pleased to announce that Granbull is definitely capable of taking on our standard Kantonian routing. So we're going to start here at Lieutenant Surge. We'll go over to Erica in Celadon, down to Fuchsia for Janine. Then it's over to Saffron for Sabrina, up to Cerulean for Misty, across to Pewter for Brock, down to the Seafoam for Blaine, and then we'll finish off with Blue in Viridian. And talking of Blue, if you do want to skip ahead to the Blue fight, it's going to be happening at around about 25 minutes and 17 seconds. But for everybody else who's sticking around for the long haul, let's now sit back, relax, and have our standard Kantonian chat. And in this one, I think we're going to talk all things routing. A very long time ago, I brought up the idea of creating a big tutorial video for how to route a Generation 2 challenge, and I'm definitely in the process of making that happen at long last. It took a lot of time for me to figure out how I want to structure the video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create decision points at key areas of the challenge, and then I'll show all the different alternative routings you could do depending on what choices you make throughout the course of the challenge. So hopefully it will be a fully comprehensive routing guide to at least how I play Generation 2. And of course it stands to reason that every single runner has their own routing, and it's just going to be a framework for you to develop your own routing from. But it's how I play the game. I'm not saying it's the right way to play the game, I'm just saying that's the way that I learned how to route my own Generation 2 challenges. So if that is something you're interested in, please do let me know. It's going to be a very, very long video, probably the longest we've ever seen on the channel, because I'm not going to be cutting out anything at all. It's going to be very talky as well, so I'm not expecting people to sit down and watch it all in one session. But I genuinely hope it'll be the most useful video I will ever upload on the channel, because Generation 2 is a very intimidating game. You've got the highest number of towns and cities in any Pokemon game that's frequently challenge run, so I know it can be very, very daunting. I'll also be taking you through the things I did before I did my first challenge run to even prepare for doing my first ever run. Those of you who've been with me since the very beginning, even before my YouTube channel, you'll know that one of my first ever runs was a Miltank over on Twitch, where I got a time of just over 2 hours. And even now, I'm really happy with that time. I was greatly inexperienced, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't even think back then about setting my own hidden power type. I just tried to make the run as simple as possible, and I think that's what we'll do in the video. We'll probably pick a very strong Pokemon to run through Generation 2, maybe something like a Miltank because it is in the slow experience group, and we'll take things piece by piece, so that hopefully by the end of the video, we'll all be at a point where we know what we're doing in Pokémon Crystal, and you never know, having the full routing laid bare, it might even expose some optimizations we haven't thought of yet. But now let's hand back over to the live run where we're at Blue. And with that, we have made it to Blue. He is our final gym leader of the challenge. He is of course a mixed type specialist, and he's going to lead with Pidgeot. We outspeed the Pidgeot and we knock it out in a single return, so that brings us nicely on to Alakazam. Unfortunately, Alakazam has used Reflect, but we critical hit. We're going to be using Ice Punch against the Rhydon. We take it deep into the red, but we don't quite finish it off. That means the Sandstorm is in play, so we're going to have to hope that we can low roll against the Gyarados so that he sets up Rain Dance. We'll then try and finish off the Gyarados with a return, but unfortunately, we get critical hit at the worst possible moment. We're going to take a reset there. There was no way we were getting through the Arcanine after that, unfortunately. That was just some really bad luck at the end of this challenge for poor old GRANBULL. Reflect is terrible for us there, and I think we need to high roll against this Rhydon as well to knock it out in one. The Sandstorm is particularly frustrating, but we are going to keep on persevering. We're going to use Shadow Ball against the Gyarados because I think even if it crit, it wouldn't one-shot. And now we can get the Quick Claw proc. We outspeed with a critical hit to get rid of that. Reflect has faded. We are now good to go. Although we have just been bloody leech seeded. It's all falling apart right at the end here for GRANBULL. He is wasting our time. He is healing looping. But because we are leech seeded, that means we are losing HP. Flamethrower deals a fair amount of damage. We are able to critical hit the Rhydon, the Arcanine, I beg your pardon. 10800 for Blue's badge. Let's try and race over to Red. We have our final rare candy. We're going to use our last repel of the challenge. We'll bring our rare candies up to tippy top spot as well. And now we can really hope that we get a very good Red fight. It's all going to come down to this for our final time. We've had a fairly smooth challenge up until that nasty Blue fight there. So hopefully Red will give us a little bit more leeway than Blue did, although I very much doubt that's going to happen. This is Red, the final trainer of the challenge, and he leads with Pikachu. We're not going to outspeed the Pikachu, so the first thing we need to do is Charm Dodge. This could take a couple of moments, but we get through on attempt number 2. We grow to level 68 as Espeon comes out. Psychic hits us fairly hard, but Shadow Ball is a one-shot. Even without any rare candies, that is phenomenal. We get body slammed by Snorlax, but we're able to take it down in 2. This one's all about getting the info, really. Venusaur's Solar Beam is enough to knock us out. Let's use 3 rare candies, and we don't need to worry about Dynamic Punch in this one because we are already able to 2-shot Snorlax. We've got to return the Pikachu and outspeed it, and that's exactly what we've done. We'll use Shadow Ball, but this time Reflect has gone up. That could be a little bit disastrous. Let's try against the Snorlax regardless. We just need to dodge a couple of body slams. That is really good, but he crits. We're going to use more rare candies. We're not going to beat Ursaring at this point, but I still think we're in with a very valiant effort. Let's see how we get on now. We've just got to get that one little in by outspeeding Pikachu. There we go. One shot on the Pikachu. Let's try and get a Quick Claw proc against the Espeon. And he crits with a Spadef drop. What absolute ridiculous scenes here at Red. Let's use our last 4 rare candies. We have got this. We've just got to get through the Pikachu first of all. It's all about the RNG here, unfortunately. Sometimes it's on our side, other times it is not. Their charm has failed, so we're in with a chance for the rest of this battle. We're going to use Shadow Ball against the Espeon. He doesn't crit this time, and we know it's a one-shot. Let's move on to Snorlax. We use Return. We take it deep into the yellow. He uses Amnesia, so we're on 164 for the Venusaur. We outspeed the Venusaur this time. He uses Sunny Day, though, which is absolutely terrible for us. We're not able to outspeed the Charizard, so I think it might be all over. Let us make one last change to this final learn set. We're going to get rid of Headbutt, and we are going to put Hidden Power Rock in its place. That will guarantee the one-shot against Charizard once we get to it. Let's just keep on persevering. It's got to happen eventually. We will at some point get the luck we need to get through this battle. It is incredibly frustrating being a slow physical attacker for Red, because you get these big periods where you don't even get a chance to start the battle. You either have to wait for a Quick Claw proc or for the charm to fail. We didn't get a Quick Claw proc against Espeon, but our Spadef did not get dropped there. And now we know it's a two-shot against the Snorlax. He goes for Body Slam though, just to ruin our day even more. Let's try against this Venusaur. He's probably going to go for Giga Drain. He's taken in Sunlight. Interesting. We're in with a very slight chance. We've outsped the Charizard. We got rid of that in one. Let's see what we can do against this Blastoise. We get surfed and we get knocked out. Back to square one. I think the luck was very much on our side with Ursaring, and it's not here today with Granbull, unfortunately. We're just going to have to keep throwing the dice and hoping for the best. We're back onto Snorlax. Hopefully this time he does not Body Slam. He doesn't get a chance because we crit. We're on to Venusaur. Let's see what we can do. Sunny Day is bad. We're hoping for a Quick Claw proc against Lazard. Do we get it? No, we don't. And we are knocked out. It's all about the luck, unfortunately. We're just 149 in speed now. Even a set of 10 rare candies and some grinding would not get us to outspeed the Pikachu. We're through it this time though. Let's see how we get on against the Espeon. He's used Psychic, which isn't great in some ways, but it's kind of beneficial in others. It's kind of a double-edged sword, whatever he uses there. We're not getting Body Slammed by Snorlax. If we Quick Claw proc against the Charizard, I'm fairly certain we'll win. It's just about whether we get that proc. It's just under a 1 in 4 chance. We don't get it, we'll take a reset. So yeah, it really is just about that Quick Claw proc for the Zard. Because if we Quick Claw proc, then the sun is still going to be up, and that means that the Blastoise is going to be using either Blizzard or a very, very weakened Surf. That is kind of ideal at that point of the challenge. That does of course rely on Venusaur using Sunny Day consistently, which he hasn't done this time. That does mean we're more likely to survive a Flamethrower, which doesn't happen because we Quick Claw proc. It's us against the Blastoise. As long as we hit on this turn, we are through in 1 hour, 15 minutes and 26 seconds. And that time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 26 seconds has definitely made us drop time compared to Ursaring. But I still think it's a very valiant effort by the Granbull, and it puts us in 3rd place on our end of the line leaderboard. We're 4 seconds ahead of Golduck, which has now been relegated off the podium. Slowking is now in the page 1 drop zone. And then over on page 2, we now have our pair of fossils in 11th and 12th place. But with that, we are done. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. Subscribe if you want to see more challenges just like this. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you all very, very soon.